Hello, and welcome to my predictions video for tonight's NXT No Mercy Premium Live event. There are 6 matches currently being advertised for the show. The latest episode of NXT's weekly TV has occurred. So as far as I'm aware, this is the final match card. I'm working off the Wikipedia page, so the match order will just simply be the match order on there from top to bottom, not necessarily the order I believe the matches will go in. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Starting with Roxanne Perez defending the NXT Women's Championship against Jada Parker. Now, Jada Parker was signed by WWE like 2 years ago and has been on NXT TV for a year. So it would be quite the story to have her already claim the Women's Championship. And there's like a really strong case to be made for it because Roxanne Perez is so ready for main roster, like so ready. Dropping the title here would just mean she's jumping on up, basically, in my opinion. Is this the time to do it? I don't know. Slight spoilers for the rest of the prediction video, but I think this is probably the most likely title to change hands. Well, the 2 women's titles are certainly the 2 most likely, I would say. But yeah, I'm going to predict Perez to retain, but this one's really not very clear cut in my opinion. By the way, now is a good time to mention this. Feel free in the comment section to tell me your predictions, what you agree with that I said, what you disagree with, and why. Let's get a conversation going. But yeah, I think Roxanne Perez to retain the title. Up next, we have the other Women's Championship match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Kaylani Jordan defending against Wendy Chu. This feels, with Wendy having just turned heel and has this whole new gimmick and has just recruited Rosemary, it seems, from TNA. I don't know if that was a one and done thing or if they're going to be teaming throughout this working relationship between NXT and TNA. Time will tell. But I think this is the most likely title to change hands, in all honesty. So I'm actually going to predict Wendy Chu to become the new NXT North American Women's Champion. NXT do seem to be high on Kaylani Jordan, so I could fully see her retaining her. But in my opinion, the interesting story lies with Chu beating Jordan here using her new persona, character, and boosting her standing because of that turn. Because it always seems weird to me when someone does like a big turn and then almost immediately gets the legs cut out from under them, and it's like, well, what was the point of said turn? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Wendy Chu. Up next, Oba Femi defending the North American Men's Championship against Tony D'Angelo, who will be accompanied by the usual Channing Stocks, Lorenzo, Luca Crucifino, who is new to me because I watched this week's NXT and I think last week's, but I've not really been keeping up with NXT before that. So I might have watched 3 weeks. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm not super familiar with Lucas, so tell me more in the comments about him. And of course, Adriana Rizzo will be accompanying Tony D'Angelo as well. My money's on Oba Femi to retain. They seem really high on him. Again, there's a chance, like the Roxanne Perez, he could lose and be ready to move up to main roster already. But I think they're just getting going with Oba Femi here. Tony D'Angelo is well thought of, it seems, within NXT. Like by management, by Shawn Michaels and what have you, because he does seem to do quite well for himself. But I just don't think he's the guy, or this is the time or the place to end Oba Femi's run. So I'm going to predict Oba Femi to win. Up next, Chase U, which is Andre Chase and Ridge Holland, defending their newly won NXT Tag Team Championship. There is one championship, there are 2 belts. I always get that wrong, but I try to get it right. They're going to defend that championship, singular, against Nathan Fraser and Axiom, the former champions. So they won the title like what is it, 2-3 weeks ago? It's not long at all. And while this could be a very short-term storyline where they lose the titles and then Ridge turns on Chase U, I think they're going to take a little bit longer. WWE these days doesn't rush a lot of storylines. If anything, if you were going to criticize the length of their storylines, sometimes storylines drag on a bit too long rather than being succinct. So I don't think they're going to do the turn here. I think we're more likely to see the Nathan Fraser and Axiom split that they've been teasing for months and then stopped teasing and then teased and then stopped teasing and then teased. We're more likely to see that split, in my opinion, than the Chase U split, specifically Ridge Holland. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Chase U to retain the championship here and see what happens with Fraxium, as someone called them on NXT TV this week, which I thought was fun. I don't think that's an official name, but it's pretty fun. Next is the only non-championship match on the show, Wesley versus Zachary Wentz, of course, former tag team partners, former tag team champions in NXT together. Wesley turned heel by attacking Wentz and Trey Miguel of the Rascals. And of course, those two are in TNA. And Wesley remained in NXT when Wentz got released for some controversy that I don't know if that's water under the bridge. I don't know if the general consensus is that Wentz is forgiven. He's getting good reactions from the live audience, like positive reactions as a babyface. But I don't know. I don't know where we stand on that. What I do know is that what Wesley said to Zachary Wentz this week on NXT was kind of true, that they're on different levels. Zachary Wentz is never seen much single success that I'm aware of in TNA or NXT. He's always been just tag team guy. Wesley, since the split, has gone on to, be North American champion and have quite the run, and again, just like I was saying about Wendy Chu, Wesley has just turned heel and changed his character up. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense to have him lose here. Unfortunately, what that means is that Zachary Wentz and TNA are kind of getting buried by the promo that Wesley just cut, because when you cut a promo like that, the other person's supposed to prove it wrong. And that's how you stop it being a burial. Because Wesley was like, I'm an NXT superstar and you're just a TNA wrestler. And it was so... what's the word I'm trying to think of? It was very demeaning, I think is probably a similar word to what I'm looking for. It's not the word I'm after, but it's similar. But it was meant in such a condescending way that it feels pretty bad for TNA as a company and for Zachary Wentz that Wesley's probably going to win this match. But that's my prediction, is that Wesley is probably going to win this match. Because Wesley's pretty high up the pecking order in NXT and is an NXT guy and has just undergone a big character shift, which usually indicates a bit of a winning streak. So, yeah, I'm going to say Wesley. And finally, we have Ethan Page defending the NXT Championship against Joe Hendry with Trick Williams as the special guest referee. Now, a couple of interesting developments this week on NXT Weekly TV. The first of which was Pete Dunne vowing revenge on Trick Williams, and they've got a match coming up on next week's NXT TV, so the show after this event. But also Joe Hendry promising Trick Williams next if Hendry wins the NXT Championship. And it feels like with the animosity between Trick Willie and Ethan Page and the friendship between Trick and Joe Hendry and that promise and Trick now being the referee and what have you, it feels very much like it's set up for Joe Hendry to win the NXT title. It's weird, the deck is kind of stacked against a heel, but I don't think anyone's going to feel any real sympathy for Ethan Page. I don't think he's going to become the de facto face in this match or anything daft like that. But the Pete Dunne factor, I feel, will come into play, and I think there's going to be a slightly janky finish here where Pete Dunne takes out Trick Williams and either another referee has to replace him or he's out for a while and Ethan Page cheats and then Trick Williams has no choice but to count the pin. I think Ethan Page retains here. And unless the deal with TNA and with Joe Hendry is very watertight and very long term, I don't see them putting the NXT title on a TNA guy. As popular as Joe Hendry is, and as much as everyone would love it, and as much as I'd love to be wrong and would love to see Joe Hendry as the NXT champion, I don't think they're going to do that. Also, Ethan Page has been NXT champion for a cup of coffee. And he's doing well. He's doing well in his role. It's not like it's being a flop this reign either. So for all of those reasons, and also the telegraphing a bit of the fact that Joe Hendry's going to win because of all these insurmountable odds against Ethan Page. I think you're going to surmount said odds, but not necessarily in a wholesome, heroic way. I think he's going to cheat to surmount the odds. I did very briefly while I was watching the end of this week's NXT where Trick Williams came out to with the referee shirt on and blah blah blah. I did entertain the idea of potentially a Trick Williams turn, but I don't think that would make sense for a couple of reasons. One, he's got a match with the heel Pete Dunne coming up 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, 2 nights from now. 2 nights after this show, and also, why turn heel and make Ethan Page retain the title if Joe Hendry winning would result in you getting a title shot? Trick Williams turning heel to go back to playing second fiddle to the champion doesn't fit with Trick Williams' character, in my opinion, and doesn't fit with any top of the card wrestler's character, in my opinion. If you've got the choice between just referee a match down the middle and potentially 50-50 shot, you receive an NXT title shot out of it, or turn your back on your friend to guarantee you don't get a title shot, I think most people would just run it down the middle, even if they don't really like said friend, and even if, because if you don't really like Joe Hendry as Trick Williams here, you can simply allow him to win this match on his own, or even help him to win the match, and then beat him up yourself and take the NXT title. It still doesn't make sense to turn heel here, so I dismiss that idea. But I'd be interested to hear what people think in the comment section down below. So I'm just going to quickly recap my predictions and then we will finish the video here. So I'm predicting Roxanne Perez to retain the Women's Championship, Wendy Chu to win the Women's North American Championship from Kaylani Jordan, Obafemi to retain the NXT North American Men's Championship, Chase U to retain the Tag Team Championship, Wesley to beat Zachary Wentz, and Ethan Page to retain the NXT Championship against Joe Hendry. Make sure you subscribe because I will be doing a review of this show tomorrow after I've watched it. And I do upload lots of other wrestling content, so do feel free to check some of that out. It'd be greatly appreciated. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. As I said, let me know in the comments who you think is going to win and why I'm wrong and why I'm right and all that good stuff. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been EBEZA, you've been amazing, and I will see you next time.